Hi, I'm Gareth Spence and welcome to Tech Talk. Adtran recently launched the Ensemble Cloudlet vRouter and it's proving to be a real conversation starter at Fiber Connect. To provide details on the new solution, I'm joined by Adtran's Robert Conger. Robert, let's unpack this announcement. What exactly is the Ensemble Cloudlet vRouter?
Yeah, so Adtran's been doing it in the UCP space for many, many years. And that's generally involved getting a commercial off-the-shelf server platform you'd get from vendor A. You'd get an application software, like a router application software from vendor B, C, or D. You could pick from a catalog of options, place that, and then you'd have like a management solution that Adtran would also provide. And so now it's taking all of that and maybe taking a lot of that complexity out of it. It's just providing everything that I just mentioned as a service. So you still use the commercial off-the-shelf hardware, so you still get that flexibility, but you get a carrier-grade router already built in. You get all the cloud-managed connectivity, so no longer like the complexity of setting up the IT administration and everything else. All that just comes out of the box. So think of it as just a cloud-managed, enterprise-grade router, but still with the flexibility and versatility of working off edge compute, off-the-shelf edge compute platforms with expandability to other applications.
You mentioned a few points there about simplicity and such like, but what would you say is the key problem that this solution solves for service providers?
Well, I think about it, even if I think in residential use cases, Adtran also serves residential broadband, the ability to do cloud-managed Wi-Fi, keep it all simple, give the end user different portals so they can see service, give operators more visibility, while also making zero limited IT. Everything's easy to go, deploy new sites rapidly. That's what a lot of the cloud managed. So we're now bringing that to the enterprise space. So rather than a traditional service provider having to go in and doing all this, I got to set up all this admin with IT for each enterprise customer and put servers somewhere in their network and worry about managing that IT overheads and building out a catalog of devices and onboarding it. We've done all that for you. You already got the carrier grade router, you've already got the router platform selected, everything's kind of out of the box. You don't have to worry about that. You just say, hey, I need a router at these 20 locations, needs to have these features, I want to be able to manage it from the cloud. Easy, done. It's all kind of out of the box now with this solution set.
What performance can customers expect from this solution?
Well, the great thing is, because we're using standard off-the-shelf server platforms, there's a lot of capability to expand. Right now, we're starting with 4 and 8 core servers. You could add 16 core. We've even added multi-node capability, so spanning horizontal scaling across multiple hardware platforms. So there's more capacity than you really need, but really the sweet spot in the starting point would really be a 4 and 8 core, but knowing there's lots of options to grow beyond that if needed.
People talk a lot about cloud-managed solutions, especially when it comes to the vRouter. What does it specifically mean here?
Well, it means really think about going to a portal, going to a website with a secure login, and being able to see your entire network from anywhere in the world. That's what we're talking about with cloud managed. It's no longer like local privileges on a local server with a lot of complex IT set up in the initial front end. This is all, you're up in the cloud day one. You can deploy any sites anywhere in the world, pretty much manage them right now from the cloud.
And how does it help with new service opportunities?
Well, I'll go back to the flexibility of the platform we're building. You still have that really great flexibility that the UCP platforms in the past were just taking all the initial startup complexity out of it, but you're still using a platform that can not only host the router application, but you can host additional workloads, whether those are security applications, future AI workloads. So it gives you a lot of extensibility. As a service provider, you can offer someone, here's a managed router service day one, but a year from now it may be, well, what about this security offering I can add to your service offering without changing the platforms? Or maybe it's an AI workload application you can add. So it gives you as a service provider a lot more flexibility to say, you're not just pigeonholed into whatever you are day one. You can always have this flexibility to add over time.
How simple is it to install?
Everything's zero touch, right? So from an installation perspective, it's pretty much put the box in, get an IP address, it'll connect to the cloud, download all of its appropriate code. It's a lot of preloaded with a lot of the router software out of the box. So all that's there. So it's pretty much completely zero touch. All the cloud connectivity as far as setting up the management servers, all that's already in place. So you don't have to worry about any of that. No Linux admins required to get up and running.
How does it fit into broader digital transformation initiatives?
Well, I think, again, if you think about the future of connectivity enterprises, they're hosting, we've used to the standard applications but now we're thinking in the future, we're hosting AI workloads and everything else. So this gives you a platform that enables that. So it's not your proprietary purpose-built hardware that does one function. This is still, it does that function of routing and does it very well, but it also gives you a platform that's much more extensible.
Robert, final question. What's the business case here for service providers?
Well, the business case is, like a lot of proprietary purpose-built platforms, they're also very expensive, and they're very expensive to upgrade, and a lot of the vendors that you typically would go to are now putting very expensive support plans on that. So that on its own, there's a big business case just for replacing that. But then when you add to that, hey, that same platform can now host other applications that I can upsell as a service provider, that's really the business case. So combining multiple boxes into one, building an extensible platform for infrastructure as a service type use cases down the road, that really, the flexibility there is what most service providers value the most.
Robert, thanks for joining me today.
Yep, thank you, Gareth.